It's the Gitty Gang Show on Cigar Nation TV. It's the Gitty Gang Show on Cigar Nation TV. And we're coming to you live from CB Gitty. It's the Gitty Gang Show.
Gitty Gang Show.
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 It's the Gitty Gang Show on Cigar Box Nation TV.
Show, folks. There's a little bit of R.L. Burnside style groove there for you that honestly we worked out about a minute before the show, and I was like, hey, let's open with that. Why not? It'll be fun. He's like, I'm not sure it'll be fun. Well, maybe not for you, but it'll be fun. So we got hopefully some good stuff lined up for you today. We feel pretty good about it. I gotta tell you right off the get-go that we're sitting in a small padded room in an unair-conditioned portion of Gitty HQ, and it's bloody hot in here, man. It's turning into a steamer real quick. So if we sweat through during the course of today's show, please pay it no mind.
Smell-o-vision, because
yeah, don't scratch and sniff your screen, folks, because it's getting a little damp in here. So what we got lined up for you today is, of course, a What's the Deal with Spiel segment where he shows off this DIY amp that he put together from our DIY amp kit, and he stained it and clear coated it, and believe it or not, Shane Spiel is a contributing author for Guitar World magazine, and he wrote an article about this, and they posted it, and it's just going crazy. It's the internet, the interwebs are literally lighting up. Well, let's not get too carried away, but it's really cool. So we've got a video from Shane where he digs into that a little bit more. We of course have Walk Corner. Perfect. Not quite yet though. That was a little preemptive theme song. I've got a photo montage segment that I'm going to do for remembering my past times at the Huntsville Cigar Box Guitar Festival, which takes place starting in just a few hours. They kick it off down there at the Low Mill in Huntsville, Alabama. I was there for 2 years back at, well, not straight. I was there for 2 of the festivals, 2 years in a row, 2014 and 2015. And I wish I was there right now, but couldn't make it down last year or this year. So just got some photos of some of the performers, some of the friends, some of the people I got to meet down there. So we're going to go through that. We've got, I think, another wicked funny comedic break lined up. All sorts of good stuff. So a couple of songs, including another new original song that I just finished up this week. Jim Burt might be watching the show from the festival. Is that true, Jim? Are you at the festival? Are you at the Low Mill right now watching this on a handheld device? If so, that's pretty cool.
It is.
And keep watching, Jim, because later during the photo montage segment, you might recognize one of those handsome young men
Hope you're not cutting hair, barbering while you're watching the show. Or maybe you are. That could be fun.
Whatever works.
That's right. Roll Tide.
So this week, just a reminder that Father's Day is coming up in virtually, what day is it this year?
So 2 weeks?
A couple of weeks, coming right up. So this week's giveaway here for the Gitty Gang Show, for those of you who share this publicly on Facebook, we're going to be giving away 5 $50 gift certificates that you can go on cbgitty.com and get something nice for Dad. Find him a gift that does not suck. He doesn't need another tie. He doesn't need another fart machine button. Push the button, it makes a fart noise. Although mine did break, so
Not that there's any.
note to family, you know, I do need another fart button. But
It's gonna be good.
it's
gonna be
getting
good.
better by the
And
minute.
this is New
up here.
Hampshire. This isn't Alabama. This isn't Florida. Georgia.
Yeah, we're up here complaining about 82-degree weather. Like, oh, this is horrible. All
And to be
right.
fair, it did get to -20 this winter, so we're still not used to the heat.
Well, that's true. All right, so just a reminder, sharing this publicly here on Facebook. For those of you watching on YouTube, because we are simulcasting to the mighty bastion of YouTubery, unfortunately, there's no way yet that we found for you to share this in a way we can track, so still no way to get entered in the drawing yet from YouTube. But by God, we're trying like heck to figure that out.
You got it.
Anyway, we got a new song for him.
Yeah. Let's do it up.
This is, believe it or not, a song I wrote having to do with trains and traveling. It's going to come as a shock to people. Bluesy. A little bit bluesier. Hey, we got Lindsay Netto out there watching. Howdy, howdy. Andy Borders, Tom Petrie. Good to see Tom out there. Hey, Tom, did you get that guitar? I keep hoping to see a photo. Have you seen a photo?
I have not.
If he hasn't seen it, it hasn't happened. Tom, if you got a photo of you with that 6-stringer, that Chris McKinney Fungi Mojo 6-stringer, take a photo and send it in to us. We'd love to see it.
Yeah.
Cigar Box Nation says, oh geez, more trains. Well, guess what, Shane Spiel? Put on your seatbelts!
You can rustle up your wagon.
Yeah, we do have a backup song we could do for Shane.
Yeah.
Headed down south to... Oh, that mentions trains too, though. So maybe we won't do that. All right, sorry. All right, here we go. Song I call Where the People Know My Name. Partly suggested this last time Shane and I were down in New Orleans. Met up with a good friend named John who took us on a jazz history tour, and he told us a story, and he used a phrase about that he used to help convince some locals that he was from there. And the phrase was, I got bones in the ground here, meaning, you know, ancestors, family history in an area, bones in the ground. So, Joe Baker out there, good to see you, buddy. All right, here we go, Where the People Know My Name, with an intro. You might recognize the intro. I use it in pretty much every song. Oh, engineer, don't you drive us slow, just to grab that whistle and let her blow. I don't want no fortune, don't care about fame. Well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 7, 8, 9, I'm rolling across the country and feeling fine. I'm going back to where the people know my name. Well, they on the throttle enjoyed that, and I hope it came through without overdriving the mics there. Can never tell from the little monitor screen we have whether she's overdriving, so hopefully not that time. So yeah, train songs.
Great
Thank
job.
you.
That was a great job.
I've been tallying up all of the different songs that I've been writing, and I think I'm up to 10. When I get to 12, I'm going to start working on the album. A lot of people have been asking when there's going to be an album, so there is going to be one as soon as I have enough songs. Get close. All right. Well, thank you, Glenn, for the nice accompaniment on that. So now we're going to move into the festival memories. Precious memories.
Of which there are a few festivals this weekend, as we know.
There are. We got Huntsville starting tonight, the Northwest Cigar Box Guitar Fest kicking off tomorrow. Downtown Vinny up there doing it again. We sent up 8 canjos that he's going to be giving away to kids up there to help jumpstart that musical spirit.
Got a good job out of you, Mark. That's awesome.
Yeah,
stuff.
buddy. So hey, while I mash about here, Glenn, can you try to get it back up on here so we can see comments?
Yes, of course.
It keeps doing that cutoff, and the battery's low. Anyway, all right. So the Huntsville Cigar Box Guitar Festival. Let me get my sheet here. They've been going for this is the 14th year. It kicked off way back there in 2004 or so. The Flying Monkey Art Center, which has it back kind of in their control this year, and Matt Crunk was involved getting it going. And like I say, I was able to be down there for 2 years. So we've got some photos here from 2014 and 2015. And the thing about festivals like this are you get to see great performers, performances, almost all of them using some form of homemade instruments. So you get to see performers and you get to meet friends, new friends, people that you've talked to online, and sometimes the performers and friends are the same people, which is awesome. So this is a shot of the crowd there. As far as I know, this festival draws the biggest number of people for the outside events on the loading dock here. The next photo shows looking across the crowd towards the old mill building, and that loading dock there is the stage where everybody sets up. So it's an amazing time, an amazing event. This year they're having the Friday night, tonight's portion will be out there on the stage. I believe Microwave Dave Gallagher out there on the stage tonight, and then tomorrow it's going to be inside at the Flying Monkey Theater, and we'll see a picture a little bit later of our good friend John Nickel on the stage there. So now some photos of some of the performers that I've had the pleasure of meeting and seeing perform down there at Huntsville. The first one here is Mr. Earl Williams, a heck of a blues man playing his cigar box guitar up there. Now during this set there was a sudden downpour, brief sudden downpour, and then as he was finishing his set, the sun came back out, and there's the rainbow over the hills in the distance. It was really beautiful. I think I got a picture of that rainbow a little later. So Earl Williams, great to meet him. Next, well, and that's a good example of how at festivals, outdoor festivals especially, you go with the flow. If it rains, you deal with it, you move on, you keep pushing. So yeah, this next photo, of course, is April May and the June Bugs. That's April May and Catfish Dave Fecka there. An amazing energy that they bring to anything they do. Musical talent, vocal talent. April May can sing. She's got a voice just like you've never heard. And of course, Catfish Dave is a monster on the guitar, whether it's a 6-string, a 3-string, whatever. So it was always awesome seeing them down there. Now, speaking of monsters of the cigar box guitar, meant in a good way, of course, here we got Mr. Ben Prestige and Microwave Dave Gallagher hanging out, I believe, before their sets, kind of looking out over the crowd. And I tell you what, I'd give a nickel to know what they were talking about there. Two guys that just have been at it and make amazing music on these homemade instruments. It was really an honor and a pleasure to meet both of them down there. Now this next shot is Mr. Prestige, Mr. Ben Prestige there, doing his set on stage. I believe he was the headliner that night. He closed it out, playing a cigar box fiddle in this shot, while at the same time, the bass drum, another drum, he's doing something with his knees. He was like a whirlwind up there. It's amazing how these one-man band people can...
The coordination is impressive. It really is.
I can barely walk across the room without falling down. And they're up there just going to town. It's really
incredible.
Really impressive. Just a brief aside here, Rob Robles going to be there in
Nice,
Huntsville
Rob.
tonight. That's very cool. Glad to hear that. What else we got? Curtis Teat going to Nashville on the 29th. There's a Cigar Box event, June 29th, happening down there around this during the Summer NAMM show. That's going to be a cool thing.
That's awesome.
Jim Burt says he's in the background in one of these shots there. I must have missed that. But don't worry, Jim Burt, you're coming up. Oh, is he in the background of that one?
I don't know.
I think Johnny Lobo is back there. Anyway, the next shot is John Nickel, our good friend John Nickel and John Savage, performing their set on the inside stage of the Flying Monkey Arts Center there, inside the Low Mill. Put on a heck of a show, of course. If you've ever heard John Nickel perform, he's got both feet going for his percussion. It's just, again, the coordination to be your own drummer while also playing and singing.
And he's a heck of a guitarist, a heck of a singer, heck of a songwriter, a lot of original stuff. Like,
Yeah.
He's a talented dude.
He is. I think he's going to be performing there in Huntsville probably tomorrow as well. So I was glad to hear that, see that online. Next, we've got another power duo of immense proportions. Him for Her. Wayne Waxing and Lucy Tight have been playing the Huntsville Fest for years now. We had the honor of having them here in the Gitty Mill on the mill stage a year and a half ago, and the sheer power that they put out, it gives you chill. You'd have chills if you weren't busy boogieing and shaking in your seat, if you're even in your seat. So always great seeing them down there. Who next? All right, Johnny Lobo.
Hey!
If you've ever had the chance to meet John or hear him perform, you know, as far as one-man bands go, he's been doing it a long time. He's got his unique sound. He invented the Lobo, which has been, I don't want to say, it's been the inspiration for many tribute builds and has been used by all sorts of famous performers. So it was great to meet John. I got a little story about that in just a few minutes. So there's a kind of a glimpse, a sampling of some of the performers you see at this sort of festival. Now I want to talk about the people you meet, the friends you meet, whether you're meeting an online friend for the first time or meeting somebody for the first time in general. This first shot here, we've got Arnold Kelly from left to right. Your left, my left. Anyway, Arnold Kelly, me in the middle, and then Larry Jelly there on the other side. Good guys. It was awesome to get to meet them down there in 2015. And after them, we got me and John Lowe, the one and only. Now, this was 2014. When John Lowe and we hadn't gotten along all that well online prior to this, but met him down there in Huntsville, helped him load his stuff in and out, bought some of his records and stuff to carry on the CB Gitty site, and we parted that festival as friends, remain as such to this day. So that was a very cool thing to be able to meet John and to work out our differences and be able to be friends ever since. So John Lowe, there's nobody.
Sometimes
you got to see him in Chicago.
I got to meet him in Chicago, and sometimes you have to cut through the internet and actually meet somebody face to face.
The internet can be difficult.
It can be. A lot can be lost in text. So
Absolutely.
Meeting somebody face to face and and getting to shake their hand and look them in the eye makes a big difference in who you know as a person. So, it was good to meet you, John. Not that you'd remember me, but nonetheless, it was a few years back in Chicago.
That was Chicago 2014. Glenn and I flew out for the festival there. Whole another batch of stories. See Jason Gleason and Chris McKinney out there.
Hey.
Matthew Simpson, who's heading down to Nashville, over to Nashville, I guess, from where he is, later this month. Good to see you out there, Matt.
Beautiful drive.
Is it?
Yeah.
From
Going over
Charlotte
Blue
to
Ridge
Nashville?
and-
Yeah, I guess it would be. All right, next we have the one and only Mr. Bill Yaley, who literally wrote the book on the history of the cigar box guitar, the first book that was published on the cigar box guitar as part of this modern movement. Bill wrote it. It's an amazing resource. He's out there still chucking and jiving, and I'm sure he'll be at the festival there because he was part of a group that was helping to kind of not reorganize it, but reimagine it. So
There you go.
he's been there, I think, both times that I've been there. Run into him in York. A heck of a guy.
Yeah.
He's out there. He's making custom guitar pedals, and he's
a smart kid.
He's a mad scientist sort of guy. That one. Next, we got Mr. Eddie Pascal, And Sean Cruz. Eddie's the taller guy in the pink shirt there, and then Sean's on the other side. I haven't seen much from Eddie lately. I hope he's doing all right out there. He's a heck of a guy. And, of course, we've seen... I said Sean, didn't I?
Yeah, I've heard it's called... His name's pronounced
He pronounces it Scene.
Yeah.
Well, it was great meeting both of those guys down there in Huntsville. And speaking of it being warm, every time I've been down there, it's been a scorcher. Scorcher. Ah. All right, who's next? I'll tell you who's next. Jim Burt! Jim Burt! Yeah, buddy. I'll tell you, the first time I met Jim, we talked about the name of his business, the Marblehead, sorry, forgot the full name, Marblehead Cigar Box Guitar Company. Well, I was born and raised in a little town called Marblehead in Ohio, of course a different one, but I think it was the first time I met Jim Burt. His wife brought me a nice cold beer on a very hot day, and I tell you what, he's been near and dear to my heart ever since. So, Jim, it's always great to see your name come up in the comments when we do these shows. I love the work you do, and hope you have a good time down there in Huntsville this year. All right, next, we've got Mr. Manny Gonzalez. Manny, one of the 2 years, he showed me a cigar box guitar he built, aluminum fretboard. It was at least 1/4 inch thick, slotted it, got the frets in there. It was amazing. I've wanted to try it ever since. He also gave me that dapper hat I'm wearing right there, which I believe I still have. I only wear that sort of fancy hat when I'm traveling. I don't feel I can pull it off around the house, but when I'm traveling sometimes, you know, it's worth it. All right, next after Manny there, we got Microwave Dave, me and Mr. Dave there, who I know is going to be performing at the Huntsville Fest. He's been involved in the blues scene down there for many years. He's got a radio show on a station down there. He's got a day named after him in Huntsville. There's a Microwave Dave Day there in Huntsville. That tells you something. They don't give those out to just anybody, let me tell you what. So it was great meeting him. And then the final picture, the rainbow over the hills after the rainstorm, the crowd waiting it out, ready for more music. At this kind of festival, it's an amazing time. If you have the chance to get to one, now I understand there are some where they have a single headliner. It's more of a concert than a festival. This is my kind of festival here, where you got a range of performers, multiple stages, stuff to do. It's an amazing time. Clay Clark says, it's important to have everyday hats and traveling hats. I agree, Clay Clark. Thank you. All right. Well, those are my Huntsville memories.
And I
so,
dig it.
Thank you for watching.
If you live near, within an hour, let's call it,
Couple hours, several hours.
Yeah, you really ought to at least consider taking a haul up to one. It's really something else to be able to meet. Like, you're gonna meet people that you see in the comments here, in the live shows, or wherever it is that you're posting on Facebook or YouTube, Cigar Box Nation, wherever your jam is. But you're gonna get to meet people face to face, shake their hands, look them in the eyes, maybe exchange a few thoughts or ideas, or just get to know what the dog's name is. It really is cool to put like a human element to the actual person that's behind the other screen. So I highly recommend it, if nothing else, for the human connection.
Right. Well, I was asked earlier, I think today or yesterday, whether or not any of the Gitty gang will be making an appearance in York this year.
Nice.
Last year it didn't. I'm going to try to make it down this year.
I think this year's looking good for me too. So not that anybody's asking, but hopefully if you're out there, and hopefully I'll see you in York.
Okay, very good. So just a quick reminder, if you like what you're seeing or you think other people might like it, share this broadcast here on Facebook where we're broadcasting. If you're watching it on YouTube, and I understand each week it seems like we have more live viewers on YouTube, which is awesome. I know we've got it embedded on the front page of the CigarBoxNation.com website. That's the YouTube feed. So we thank you for taking time out of your Friday afternoon to join us and behold our shenanigans. For indeed. Yes. All right. So liking and sharing, important. The newsletter, the Gitty newsletter, the Cigar Box Nation newsletters. If you're not signed up for those, that's where we really talk about what's happening, what's about to happen, news, general news in the cigar box guitar world, new products at CB Gitty, all sorts of good stuff. So sign up for those if you aren't already. Marty Tauber says we need a Cigar Box Guitar Festival in Maine. You are right, Marty. And I know the guy to make it happen. Marty Tauber, everybody.
A New England festival would be fantastic.
New England festival. And my standing advice to anyone interested in trying to get one going is, honestly, people have asked me to, and I do not have time. It takes a lot to get one going, but one thing that can make it easier getting one off the ground is finding an existing festival, a blues fest, a street fest, something that you can kind of attach to. Get a stage, dedicate one portion of it to cigar box guitars. It can be a great way, because you've already got a draw. You've already got people there. Trying to draw cold can be very difficult.
Just like you've done, like Marty did up in Maine. There was a blues festival every year that Marty's been to. Matthew Simpson down in North Carolina. I know you're going to the Tattoo Festival later in August. I think you're going up to Nashville as well. Those are pre-existing events that are not cigar box guitar oriented, but you're bringing your stuff there to spread the word and kind of get yourself out there, and that's super smart.
The event happening in Nashville on the 29th, they're doing it during the NAMM show. So you've got one of the biggest accumulations of music type people in a place doing an event then. You know, trying to capitalize on stuff that's already established can be a great way to do it. All right. Hey. So let's have our short comedic break, and then we'll be back with a couple of new good jokes. Very funny. Yes, sir. Probably the worst thing you can hear when showing off a new cigar box guitar is, "Oh, good for you."
Hey!
Lord of mercy, what was all that? I don't even know. So, just a quick note, couple of new things this week. We've got a new premium neck that we've released. This one a little different color scheme than the existing one we have, which is mahogany on hard maple. This is Paduk on quarter sawn white oak. So you get that nice kind of orange red against that honey brown flecked oak color. This one is not linseed oiled. Once you get linseed oil on it, it's going to pop even more. So expanding our line of premium fretted necks, extended headstocks, thinned down, ready for tuners. This thing's pretty nice, rounded profile to the back. It's ready to go, and as Glenn Watt can tell you, you can leave it as a paddle-style rectangular headstock, or shape it either freehand or using one of our templates. So all sorts of good stuff there.
It is a 25-inch scale.
25-inch scale.
Fretted with medium nickel silver fret wire.
It's true.
And rounded on the back. Good stuff. And like Ben said, quarter sawn white oak, so it's as tough as nails.
Yeah,
you know that.
That's hard stuff. That'll stand up to 3 or 4 strings. And just today arrived a couple of new things from our good buddy, Janice Wilson Hughes. And of course, she sent along this lovely little note.
She's awesome. Come on.
If you want a shout out on the Gitty Gang show, send us a lovely little handwritten note with a heart on it.
That is
And
so
by
cool.
God, you're in. Yeah. Actually, it doesn't even take that, but it doesn't hurt. 2 new slides. I'm going to come forward here. Janice is a potter, amongst other things. And we got 2 new colors, a nice brick red and a black variety of her stubby slides there. Great for cigar box guitar. I'm not much of a slide player myself, but oh, he happens to have a slide
Shane's
guitar.
guitar.
A chugga. Well, not really a chugga. It's got 3 strings. Yeah, buddy. Not a slide player. But these are awesome. Hand-fired, handmade. She's experimenting with different glazes to get these colors. So thank you, Janice, for continuing to do what you do.
I've got 2 of Janice Wilson Hughes slides, and both of them are my favorites.
Well,
Do you have 2 favorites?
With
They're
these,
awesome.
we've got five different colors now, and she's working on a white one, which will allow us to do a red, white, and blue set.
Nice.
What? Yeah, buddy. All right, so that was just a short thing. If you haven't seen our scarf joint miter kit, we've been really having to, I don't know if we got one in here, but really the laser has just been going all day trying to keep up with demand for these things. I saw Michael Capato mention it earlier that he was happily scarfing away using his miter jig, and it was he's the one that kind of got this whole idea started, saying, hey, why don't you make one for, I'm like, yeah, good idea, all right. Well, that's the short version of how that all went. But yeah, if you haven't seen it already, we've been featuring it, so most of you have probably seen it already. Stephen Two Hawks Reed says a slide assortment would make a great giveaway. That's some smart kid stuff right there. That's a great idea. Thank you, Stephen. We're going to try to make that happen. All 5 of the Janice Wilson Hughes slides in a nice cigar box packaging. Yeah. We'll do that.
Thank you, Stephen.
All right. Now we've got this week's installment of What's the Deal with Spiel. And I tell you what, folks, as soon as this camera switches off, a fan is going to turn on because it's...
More coffee for me.
There's a swamp. A couple of swamps up here. All right. We'll see you again soon after...
Hey guys, it's Shane Spiel and welcome to What's the Deal with Spiel? So I just got a brand new cigar box guitar and I just finished building my CB Gitty DIY 2.5 watt amp kit, and I thought I would pair them together, kind of like wine and cheese pairing, and let's see how it goes. First of all, this guitar was built for me by Jed Treaster of Loveland, Colorado. He got a hold of me on Facebook, said he loved my videos and wanted to build me something. So he made this wild 4-string cigar box guitar with a Padermo box, and it's 4 strings. It has this decoupage. Let me give a little close-up there. This decoupage map all over it. And then notice the pickup. The pickup is hiding underneath a Dapper Dan pomade can lid. And the cool thing about this pickup is it's completely homemade. He used the magnet from an old computer speaker and a transformer from something else and mixed those two together. And then he wired it to a CB Gitty preamp. And he hacked it into the preamp. And right now I have everything just cranked up. And that is the pickup for it. I have this tuned to an open E right now, which is E, B, E, G sharp. And it's going a little out of tune. I got brand new strings on here and they're still stretching. Come on. So this thing is just, it sounds awesome. The pickup has a bit of an underwind to it. I fully expected it to be just howling, but it's a little underwound. I like underwound. Underwound means it's not as powerful as other pickups. Even with the preamp in there giving it a boost, it's still not as powerful. However, that's the way those old Tisco Del Reys and old cheap guitars from Japan from the 1960s, that's how a lot of their pickups are, and that gives you the slide guitar snarl. Now this is the Gitty amp kit, and I don't know if you guys saw, but I just wrote an entire article for Guitar World magazine where I show how I built this thing. Now the amp kit comes in it's got its own housing, and it's birch plywood housing. I took the time to add a nice dark oak stain and 4 coats of polyurethane, which gives it that beautiful shine to it. Get it in the light there, shiny. And the amp kit also came with a very shiny handle. And I took Rust-Oleum hammered paint and I painted the handle so that it would match everything. I even was looking at other guitar knobs because it came with this black telly knob. And I was looking at chicken head knobs and things like that, but this telly knob just fits it perfectly. The kit If you don't do the polyurethane, you could build it in one night. This took me 2 nights to build, and it was just a pure joy to make. It sounds great. And in all my video demos, I had been using 6-string guitars, so for this, What's the Deal with Spiel, figured I'd use a cigar box guitar. Now the amp itself, it's a tiny little it's a tiny little speaker and a 2.5 watt solid state amp. So that speaker is always, for the most part, going just pushing out the sound, and it distorts. Well, if you want to clean it up, just dial the volume back. The volume knob is right here on this guitar. But, you know me, I like loud and stupid. And then, just to give you a little bit of a hint of what it sounds like with a regular guitar, here is an Earl Slick Signature 59 model. I forget. These are those cheap $200 guitars from Guitar Fetish. And they're awesome. But so, just to give you a little idea, now what I am using for the microphone in this broadcast is an iPad mic, so it's not going to pick up everything, but quite honestly, this little amp is perfect for the living room. It fits nice right there on a bookshelf, and I've been using mine for songwriting. Well, that's what I got going on. That's what's the deal with Spiel this week. Jed Treaster, thank you so much for this cigar box guitar. I can't wait and really dig into it and see what songs are hiding inside here. Very cool idea with the pickup. I'd love to get more information on how you built the pickup. If you want to share that with people, maybe you're keeping it a secret. But either way, my name's Shane Spiel. Guys, for more information, check out shanespiel.com. I've got some big festivals coming up. In fact, this weekend I'm playing Roosterpalooza Festival in Spring Grove. And in July, at the end of July, I'm playing the big Susquehanna Folk Music Festival. And you can find out more about that at julyfolkfest.org. So thank you to CB Gitty. Thank you for watching. And it's time for me to go rock out. So have a good weekend.
Nice.
Hey, thanks to Shane for that awesome video showing off.
He's been doing so many awesome videos and so much awesome writing lately. It's just really a pleasure to see that guy in action.
He's a juggernaut of creativity.
One of the coolest Marvel characters, by the way, if anybody...
No idea what you're talking
All right.
All right, we got another song for
First
you.
comment I have on the Juggernaut is not safe for
So for this one, I'm going to be playing the 6-string, the 6-string Coke Crate guitar, and Mr. Glenn Watt is going to spring into action on the wash tub bass here. Now I think we got to pull this chair over a little bit to get you back in the in the scene. Here he comes.
All right. It's good. I don't want to pull. All right, good.
No, that ain't gonna work.
No, I got you right here. I got you. How's that cord looking? I just don't want to
Oh
pull.
no.
Is that throwing off the...
Yep. I'll just shut it off.
This is DIY TV, folks.
Hey!
I can stand and do... Oh, there's a microphone. Boom! This is professional stuff here, folks. Well, I left Kentucky back in '49, went to Detroit working on the assembly line. In the first year they had me putting wheels on Cadillacs. Well, every day I'd watch them beauties roll by, and sometimes I'd hang my head and cry, 'cause I always wanted me one that was long and black. So one day I devised myself a plan that should be the envy of most any man. I'd sneak it out of their lunchbox in my hand. Now getting caught, it meant getting fired, but I figured have it all by the time I retired. I'd have me a car worth at least $100 grand. I'd get it one piece at a time, and it wouldn't cost me a dime. You'll know it's me when I come through your town. I'm gonna ride around in style, I'm gonna drive everybody wild. I'll have the only one there is around. So the very next day when I punched in with my big lunchbox and with help from my friends, I left that day with a lunchbox full of gears. Now I never considered myself a thief, but GM wouldn't mind one little piece, especially if I strung it out over several years. So the first day I got me a fuel pump, and the next day I got me an engine in the trunk, and then I got me a transmission and all the chrome. Well, the little stuff I could fit in my big lunchbox, like nuts and bolts and all four shocks, but the big stuff we snuck out in my buddy's mobile home. Well, up to now my plan went alright until I tried to put her all together one night, and that's when I noticed that something was definitely wrong. 'Cause the transmission was a 53 and the motor turned out to be a 73, and when I tried to put in the bolts, all the holes were gone. But we drilled it out so that it would fit, and with a little bit of help from an adapter kit, had that engine running just like a song. Now the headlights, it was another sight. We had two on the left and one on the right, but when I pulled out the switch, all three of them come on. And the back end looked kind of funny too, but we put her together, and when we got through, well, that's when I noticed that we only had one tail fin. But about that time my wife walked out, and I could see in her eyes she had her doubts, but she opened the door and said, "Honey, take me for a spin." So we headed uptown to get the tags, and we took her right on down Main Drag. I could hear everybody laughing for blocks around. But down there at the courthouse they didn't laugh, 'cause to type it up took the whole staff, and when they got through the title weighed 60 pounds. I got it one piece at a time, and it didn't cost me a dime. You'll know it's me when I come through your town. Gonna ride around in style, and I'm gonna drive everybody wild. I'll have the only one there is around. Yeah, Red Ryder, this is the Cottonmouth and the Psychobilly Cadillac. Come on. Yeah, this is the Cottonmouth and negatory on the cost of this machine there, Red Ryder. You might say I went right up to the factory and picked it up. It's cheaper that way. What model is it? Well, it's a 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59 automobile. Yes, it's a 60, 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, 66, 67, 68, 69, 70 automobile. Yeah! One piece at a time, Johnny Cash.
Good stuff, buddy.
All right, thank you. Get that foot back, get the camera brought back. Boy, our cameraman today is just clearly not a union guy.
Brad, Adam, Wayne, good to see all of you. Thank you, Jay.
Woo.
Awesome stuff. Thank you.
Thank you all for tuning in today. So we're getting near to the third corner, the third half of this week's show, during which we have What Corner.
Hey!
Now it's time for What Corner.
It's my little shuffle. All right.
All
It's Watt Corner. Now check this out. This is where you all send in stuff to us to check out. We go back and share it with the rest of y'all so that you can see how awesome all of you are. And we kind of dig doing it.
Yeah.
I'm throwing in a little bit of the y'all. I'm apostrophizing in a way, contracting you and all. I'm trying to work in the Huntsville thing.
I've heard
trying.
the word before.
All right, Walkhorn. Now, the first up Nick has kindly, patiently waited for me to say something is from Vicky. Now, Vicky G writes to us with this awesome, by the way, Viking fiddle, harp, Viking harp. I know, not a cigar box guitar. Don't worry about it. It's still awesome. Vicky writes in, hello there in Cigar Box Nation music makers. I am from Canada and I love building instruments. I tried when I was a kid but did not have tools or people to help. Now I think we all can relate to that on some level. So now I build to my heart's content with different materials and love learning about the history of cigar boxes and other means to make music. So here are a couple of pictures which we see here. Now, and the next picture Nick has for you, this is a Viking harp, says Vicky, that she modified using our inset plate for part of the design. Now, it is made from white oak, mahogany, maple, pine, aromatic cedar, and ebony with stone inserts as well. I'm loving the design that she did on the back. Now, that hummingbird design, is that what I'm saying? Yeah. Yeah. That is gorgeous. But I guess that's what you do when you're an artist. It's gorgeous stuff. Now, Vicky goes on to say, there are antler and real sinew to hold the strings and handmade string tuning pegs from steel. God, just good stuff.
Where's the video?
I know, we need some video. And so, no, I'm sorry, and the next what Nick has for you is also from Vicky G. And this is part of her art display. She has an art show up in Canada. This is a ukulele with a body made from clay. Now, we've had people send us pictures before of bodies that they've made out of clay, such as Jeff S. over in Missouri. Does a bunch of stuff in his class with making instruments out of clay bodies. Obviously, Vicky G's done that here. We had a couple other people send some stuff recently. I think Janice Wilson Hughes has done some experimenting with this as well. Some really cool stuff. And so I don't know, we wanted to share this too. I think that's really cool. A body made out of clay, as Vicky G writes, making the body was hard, and it's all in capitals, hard. Very difficult to do. Took 3 times in firing efforts. It has been a hit in her first art show, illustrating instruments that she has made from clay. And just to add to this awesomeness, she also carves Native American flutes. So I can't keep up.
Renaissance.
And now, Two Hawks, if you're still out there, I was hoping maybe like you'd have some flute stuff, and Vicky G would have some flute stuff, but maybe for another show. And so moving along. Now, what Nick has for you next is our man Richard O. Now, this one is particularly special to me, and I'm going to get to why, but what Richard has written with this is Richard donated this guitar to the Roanoke Valley Veterans Museum in Roanoke Rapids, North Carolina. In the next picture Nick has for you, Richard also writes, a volunteer member there asked me to build a guitar using an M&M's collectible edition box. The guitar sounds very good considering the small box, and the museum's manager who plays guitar is really impressed by it, how it sounds. In the next picture, moving along, you'll see that there's a .308 caliber cartridge cases of the fired version, the non-live ones, the inert ones, with new bullets inserted or modified to make the bridge and tailpiece. And the next image that Nick has for you, the museum donated the brass lapel pin that is inlaid into the fretboard. The fret markers are fired, 45 ACP primers. This is pretty cool stuff. I know I'm kind of breezing through this, but these are all really cool features on this guitar. And I think Richard O did a great job. Now, moving on to the next one, what you'll see here is thanks to CB Gitty for the fine service and part selection. And this is his wood burning on the headstock to personalize it as a donation for, again, the Roanoke Valley Veterans Museum in Roanoke Rapids, North Carolina. And on the last image that Nick has for you, the reason I actually wanted to display this is I don't expect that you can read it, especially if you're on a mobile device, but I want to share this part of it. This is the underside of the M&M's tin. Now, it has a message on the bottom that I'm going to relate to you through my voice. And I actually took this from, because I had to look into this, so I found a link to confectionarynews.com, so I'm citing my source. They interviewed Tim LaBelle of the Mars Chocolate North America company, and Tim said this about this particular thing, this M&M's tin thing. M&M's were made exclusively for the United States military during World War II for use in MREs because of the candy's durability in warm climates. The hard candy shell, like they won't melt in your hand, that slogan they had, well, they actually created us, allegedly, in World War II, M&M's did, or created M&M's in World War II to put into, what are they?
Meals ready to eat.
Meals ready to eat, MREs. to soldiers serving overseas in World War II. Now, when they came back home, however, once the soldiers returned home after the war, they missed their favorite treats, says Tim LaBelle, and Mars began producing M&Ms for the masses in 1947. I just thought that was a cool little piece of history. A very cool guitar and an awesome donation to an excellent museum. So thank you very much, Richard O, for sharing that with us. And last, and my favorite, and I promise I'm going to get through this quickly and without getting all misty-eyed about it, because it's awesome. This is from our good man. If you're still out there, Jittery J, Jason G, this is really impressive stuff. I saw this. It got it shared here. I've seen it shared elsewhere. I'm going to get into this. Jason G writes about this guitar, staying on this image. This is a tribute to my dad for the upcoming Father's Day. My father never liked cigars and never played a musical instrument, but he taught me how to use tools and always had some hobby or project going. He used to build the most elaborate dollhouses and give them away. When asked why he just gave away the dollhouses, Jason's father replied, "What am I going to do with dollhouses? I got to enjoy building it. Let someone else enjoy playing with it." That stuck with me, writes Jay. The joy and pride can be in the creation as much as it can be used in the... That stuck with me. The joy and pride can be in the creation as much as it can be in the use of the thing. Which is perfect because I'm a really terrible guitar player but love building them. I doubt that, Jay, but I really appreciate that statement. That stuck with me. The joy and pride can be in the creation as much as it can be in the use of the thing. On the next image that Nick has for you, Jay writes, this guitar has an oak neck rail runner bridge, thank you, and hand-cut sound holes. Building with my father's cigar box was a no-brainer. That brand. I took the cedar spacer that came with the box and laminated it to the headstock to tie the whole guitar together. Now, in another image that Nick has, the Jaime Garcia logo, which incorporates my father's initials, JG, has special meaning to me as my own father would stamp those initials into everything he made. Unfortunately, my father is no longer with us, so I dedicate this guitar to him and say, Dad, see, Dad, sometimes I do pay attention. And I really, really, really love that.
That's cool.
And I know that feeling of not having your father with you any longer. I wanted to share that with them, and what it means to have Dad's lessons crop back up later on in life, and to embrace them and to feel good about them, regardless. A father figure doesn't have to be the guy that you called. Anyways, it was really special stuff, and thank you very much, all of you, for sharing that with us, and especially Jason for sharing that story, because it really moved me the morning that I read it, and moves me in the moment right now, and I'm glad that the rest of y'all got to see it too.
Well, you did good getting through that. I'm working on a song about my grandpa, who was like a father to me growing up, and I'm not ready to perform it yet because I can't get through it without tearing up.
Yes.
So, this, yeah,
It's a thing.
near and dear. I also wanted to say that idea of laminating that cedar insert that is often in cigar boxes and often branded, not all every time, laminating that onto your headstock to cover the scarf joint. That's smart kid stuff right there.
That is.
Just wanted to quickly say we do have a couple more new products that I almost forgot. Hey! The first is this week's, the new limited edition of our printed box kit with the F-holes pre-cut. Went with a classic this time. Let me let you get a good look at this here. This is classic cigar box art that was on an actual cigar box, I think in the late 1800s. Oversea, it's got the train motif, and I believe this is the bridge. The main offices were in Jacksonville, Florida. I think this is the 7 Mile Bridge or whatever that went down to Key West. So the Oversea line, some classic cigar box art printed on there. Hopefully the last one, the Sailor Beware tattoo edition, was very popular. A lot of those went out the door. Some that we even gave away last week. Peggy Tramble and I think Rick Flink got one, and Alan Croucher over in the UK. So yeah, that's this. For the next 2 weeks, that's when will be available. And then it goes into the vault, folks. Also, just arrived today. I know it just looks like a box, a wooden box, but this is very exciting. It's the first time that I have purchased custom-made boxes unbranded, so it's not technically a cigar box, never held cigars, but we are going to be making use of these for our illustrated line of guitars, the ones where we print things onto them. Going to be using them in kits. really exciting that
is.
those have showed up. So
There's a lot of people out there now building stuff that's not just cigar boxes. We're talking about just handmade musical instruments. We're talking about folk art. We're talking about things that were never intended to make music, and you're out there making musical instruments out of them, and I think that's just awesome.
it is. Cigar box guitars, I think, will always be the flagship of the line. This is a cigar box. That's not. That's an old dynamite crate that I remade. Just a reminder, tonight and tomorrow, the Huntsville 14th Annual Cigar Box Guitar Festival going on down in Huntsville, Alabama at the Low Mill. We also have the Northwest Cigar Box Guitar Festival taking place out in Eugene, Oregon. Beautiful city, bustling metropolis. And there's one going on in St. Louis, I believe, this weekend as well. All sorts of good stuff.
Now tonight in Huntsville, I believe it's Microwave Dave and the Nukes, and I think April May is playing tonight.
Oh yeah?
But I know Microwave Dave is. At least he's slotted to. And tomorrow at the Eugene Northwest Fest, our good friend Dar Stellabata has made it all the way from the East Coast, to the best coast, the West Coast, Eugene, Oregon, to be a part of the Northwest Fest. And so if ever somebody's like, hey, why aren't you guys coming down to such and such place to, this festival? And if you ever see me type or hear me say something to the effect of it might be too far, just remind me that Dar traveled thousands of miles to be a part of the Northwest Fest. I mean, that's really cool stuff.
I think the farthest I've gone to go to one is New Orleans. Well, it's been the Gitty Gang Show on Cigar Box Nation TV. Been the Gitty Gang Show on Cigar Box Nation TV. And we came to you live from CB Gitty. It's been the Gitty Gang Show. Gitty Gang Show. It's been the Gitty Gang Show. Gitty Gang Show. Been the Gitty Gang Show on Cigar Box Nation TV. Don't forget this week's giveaway: 5 $50 gift certificates to cbgitty.com in preparation for Father's Day. We thank you for tuning in. To be entered in that drawing, all you got to do is publicly share this video here on Facebook. Thank you for watching on Facebook. Thank you for watching on YouTube, if that's where you're seeing it. We will be back next week. Tune in, folks. All new show.